Yeah, hi everybody. I'm from Turkey. Before starting my presentation, first I want to say something about our project. Firstly, I am really proud of being a member of this project, and thanks to all partners, especially Irish team, Jerry McNamara, Martin Brown, Joe O'Hara, and Dennis Burns, for all their supporting, and then also the other countries for all supporting and understanding. And the second thing is I am really happy to see here in participants from Turkey, 2 participants from Turkey now, really interesting for me. Thanks for their attending also. And my title of presentation, what school leaders in Austria, Ireland, Norway, and Turkey tell us about assessment practices and challenges in their schools. Now I just tried to summarize all survey findings in the following subjects: attitudes towards cultural and linguistic diversity in schools, practice to promote multicultural learnings, attitudes towards interculturalism, teaching and learning strategies, challenges and supports. We use arithmetic mean, frequency, and percentage also. And totally 369 secondary school principals participated in this research. 120 are from Ireland and Turkey, 100 from Austria, and 29 participants from Norway. And when we look at the school characteristics, approximately half the schools participating in the research are situated in village or a town. You can see in red also. And most of schools are public schools, and number of the full-time teachers are between 26 and 50. And when we look at the student populations, it's range between 30 to 500. And number of students population with migration backgrounds are 1% to 20%. And for all country, there is no policy assessment for migrant students. And when we look at the findings, I make some items red and some items blue. Red items have the highest mean, and it means that it is most applied or accepted by participants, and blue items have lowest mean, and it means it's least applied or accepted by participants. When we look at attitudes towards cultural and linguistic diversity in schools, for Austria and Norway, the item is the same. In order to achieve the school's goals, it is necessary that the school continually evaluates its structures and practices to meet needs of students from different cultural backgrounds is the highest. And for Ireland and for Turkey, it's different. For Ireland, it is best for school cohesion when schools encourage the expression of cultural differences among their students. And for Turkey, it is beneficial for the academic success of students from diverse cultural and ethnic backgrounds when schools regard their cultural differences. But when we look at the lowest item reflecting teachers' intercultural beliefs and readiness, the least item is the same for all country. It is crucial for the academic success of students with migration background that schools offer courses in their native language. And when we look at the practices to promote multicultural learning, most commonly used practice in all countries is the same. In our schools, students learn about the cultures of diverse ethnic and cultural groups that live in our country. This is the highest. And the lowest item is our school offers an exchange program with schools in other countries, and in our school we celebrate festivals from other cultures. These are the least items. And attitudes toward interculturalism in all countries, the item reflecting participants' views, the most item is the same. Respecting other cultures is something that students should learn as early as possible. It is the highest one. And in case of Austria, Turkey, and Norway, the item reflecting participants' views towards interculturalism is the least. In the classroom, it is important to be responsive to differences between cultures, but for Ireland, it is important for students to learn that people from other cultures can have different values. And regarding to extent which teachers have adequate training to diagnose, support, communicate, and assess students from migration backgrounds, in Austria, Ireland, and Norway, the item is the same. Support individual students' learning and assessment needs the most. And for Turkey, diagnosing the diverse needs of students is the most. When we look at the list items, Austria and Norway is the same, and also Ireland and Turkey is the same. In case of Austria and Norway, communicate with culturally diverse students and their parents or guardians, and for Ireland and Turkey, assess students from migrant backgrounds. And when we look at the teaching and learning strategies, in case of Ireland and Turkey, they use the most strategies. Information, students' work, and other materials are displayed around the school to represent the cultures of the school community. For Austria and Norway, it is the same. For the purpose of differentiated learning, staff at the school develop and source instructional resources that are culturally familiar to students. When we look at the least applied strategies, for Ireland, the staff at this school reviews and assess curricula and teaching and learning materials to determine their multicultural strengths and weaknesses. And for the other countries, Austria, Turkey, and Norway, the same item. Teachers in this school give students with migrant background the opportunity to share what they know in their native language. And school informing practices are examined. The most applied practice for Austria teachers in this school use a wide range of assessment tools for assessment of students from migrant background. For Turkey, teachers utilize information from several sources, including families, in assessing student achievements. And for Ireland and Norway, it is the same. The school assesses student intellectual and academic strength and weaknesses and development needs. And the problem is the same for all partner countries. Teachers in this school utilize culturally appropriate assessment tools for assessing migrant students. When we look at the assessment techniques that partner countries use, for Ireland and Turkey, the most using techniques is oral assessment. For Austria and Norway, oral presentations. And portfolio is the least assessment practice for Norway. Students writing assessment criteria also least practice for Austria and Turkey. And for Ireland, artistic dramatical performances is the least techniques for assessment. And when we look at the professional development, we can say that, you can see the graphics. For Austria and Norway, most of participants say these questions yes, and for Ireland and Turkey, most of participants say no. They think that professional development opportunities available for staff in their school to enhance their skills in integrating culturally relevant materials into assessment practice. Participants from Ireland and Turkey say no, and Austria and Norway say yeah, most of participants. And also, when we look at the professional development opportunities available for staff at their school to help them reflect on their own cultural backgrounds, experience, and expectations of students from migrant backgrounds, Yeah, Ireland, most of participants from Ireland say no. And nearly half of participants from Austria say yes. And also from Norway, most of participants say no. The interesting thing for Turkey, most of participants say yes. They think that they have opportunities for migrant background students. And when we look at the validity of assessments, participants from Ireland, Turkey, and Norway are the view that assessment in their schools are conducted to some extent, and for Austria, these programs to a great extent. And for high-stake test, all participants from partner country, they think that they have, they say these questions, no. Is it the observation of your school that high-stakes tests have been designed to be inclusive of students from migrant backgrounds and have been standardized on populations of students similar to their students? All participants from all partner countries thinks that no. And as a conclusion, the overall response to questionnaire indicate positive attitudes to issue of culturally responsive assessment, but difficulties in implementation. A theme resulting from the questionnaire is that assessment techniques have to be culturally fair for all students, including students via migrant background. Responses also indicate that the belief that teachers have not received adequate training or professional development to diagnose, support, or integrate culturally responsive materials into assessment practices. And also principles indicate that there is a little opportunity, but also little priority placed on the professional development needs of teachers at school level. Responses indicate the demands on teacher resources and time and need for support for development of resources. Also, principles emphasize the need for culturally responsive assessment tools, but that schools are not resourced sufficiently to develop them and need support in this area. And thanks for listening.
A lot of information there. Anyone want to take up any questions on that? Any points? Just ask you, did you think, what strikes you as the most surprising finding?
For Turkey?
No, for the whole thing?
For whole thing. To be honest, at the beginning, I don't want to accept really these similarities. For example, we have really big similarities with Ireland. I don't expect this. I guess some similarities with Austria because there are lots of Turks in there. Maybe they can understand. But for Ireland, this is really surprised me. Also, the other things is that normally there is no policy for migrant students, but most of principals say that yes, we have a policy, but I don't understand why and how they say yes. But this is another surprising thing for me.
Hi. Anyone else? Yes, are you?
Hi, my name is Unia Muhammad, and I'm a German teacher in Uganda. And I say thank you very much, and nice to meet you, and that student. So I was wondering, because Turkey is not in a position, or wasn't in a position till now, or till the last few years, that the immigration and the asylum and immigrant students in the schools, like Austria or Norway or Germany. So how can we see, or how can you see, or do you think will Turkey improve or develop the educational system for these migrant students? Thank you.
Yes, this is a very new issue for Turkey because at the beginning of the migration, we made the first migration from Syria on 2011. And at this time, we thought that they will go back, as like the other countries. They will go back. So our government didn't do anything for them because they're expecting also go back. But they don't go. and they stay. They want to stay, and also they prefer to stay Turkey to pass to Europe, just a passing country. So our government don't know how they manage this issue. They try to something, but in my opinion, it's not enough for them, to be honest. The other thing is that we have really big problems in Turkish students, not just for migrant students, but also Turkish students in educational system. For example, we don't have an opportunity or reach education. This is really a problem for Turkey. And also we add the migrant students. We have to do lots of things for them and also for us. Maybe this project is just a starting point for the government. I think so.
Okay, we can go back to Funda at the question session later on, but we'll let her go for. Thank you, Funda.